Hey everybody, Troy here with Fields Family Cooking and Outdoors, and today we're going to be working on the boat. Our impeller, or some people call it the water pump in the lower units, getting a little weak. The stream's getting a little weak, so it's time to change it out. And so I brought it home so we could get that done today, and I couldn't have chose a hotter day to do this on, but hey, it's all good. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. I'll show you the steps I'm going to use to change this out. And as you guys know, we have the fishing barge, the 22 DLX, which we love. We bought it brand new in 2019. And the Mercury 154 stroke has been amazing. There we go, 150. So we're going to get cracking. Okay, so the first thing we did was make sure that the throttle is in the forward position, just out of neutral. I'll be doing this by myself, so I definitely want to have that in gear. And then I got a real strong piece of plywood, a few sawhorses, that I can set the lower unit on right here after we get it off so we can do our work. Okay, went ahead and took the prop off, make it a little easier, a little lighter, and on top of that, while I was at it, I think I'm gonna go ahead and change this ring for the exhaust through the prop. They do get wore out from time to time. I have had it kind of cavitate just a little bit and then kick back in, so I feel like it's probably time. So we'll do that later on though. Okay, next thing you're gonna do, you're gonna see this rubber stop right here. You're going to take that out, and there is a 1/2 inch bolt in here. You're going to want to get this in here and get that out. I need to get a shorter extension for that. We need to get that out so I can drop the piece off here. Alrighty, got the correct extension. I'm going to turn that, and as you'll see underneath here, we're going to take this right here, this piece here off. It allows you more access. Almost there. Okay, so we got this piece off, and what it does, it covers up and protects this nut right here. So it's a 9/16. We're going to take that off. This one's just a little tighter. Okay, I'm gonna work with this a little bit, not waste any time on video. Okay, so I got that bolt out. It goes right up inside there. It's a little long-winded, but it's not too bad. Pretty snug. Now we're gonna take the get these bolts out and get started pulling the lower unit off. Okay, so what we did, I took the left side off first. This one comes off, and I left this one in just to have one in until I'm all finished. But on the right side, as you'll notice, when you take these nuts off, they don't come off until the lower unit starts to come loose, and they'll fall on the ground. So just keep in mind, the right side will not come off until you get it moving. Okay, so we got them out. Let's give it a shot, see if it's gonna come off easy. Looks like it's gonna be a little stubborn. This is the first time this one's come off, so I'll go get a mallet on it. Okay, so I got this lower unit off. I didn't turn on my camera because I was having to bounce around a little bit. Everything looks really good, but this little housing, this little hole here for the Speedo tube housing here was just being stubborn. So I just tapped on it with a mallet a little bit and worked it, and it took me about 20 minutes, but I finally got it to start working free and ease it in. I don't want to use a screwdriver, start prying and banging on it, so just had to have a little patience and ease it. And that's your shift tube, don't want to touch that right here. And so now we are going to pull the impeller. Okay, so your impeller's inside here. This is the housing. These are 10mm bolts here. We're going to pull them, and your kit that I have has a new rubber seal here. So whenever that comes off, if it comes off hard, you tear it up, it's not a problem because you'll get a new one in the kit. So I will pull this off and then start back up. Okay, we got it off. As you'll see, here's our impeller here. Here's our keyway, which I think we have one in the kit, a new one. Yep, there it is. We've got the kit over here. It belongs right here. This will be new also, but there is the impeller. Now we're going to get in the kit and we'll get this thing changed out. And I did almost forget to mention that your water tube right here, this particular one, stayed on right there, so it just stayed on the engine. I've heard that some of them do come off with the impeller, but not this one. Okay, now we get everything off. We're ready to go back, got this cleaned out. Here's the tricky part here. You gotta make sure that this faceplate and gasket, you gotta make sure that this hole is lined up, not to get it covered up or backwards. Here's the old one that came off, which came out from the factory, and then here's the new replacement. So we'll get this put back on, but just another quick look. I took a good look at the shaft. Everything looks good there, so we're gonna go ahead and slide this faceplate on and get to putting it together. I know I just talked about this a minute ago, but I just want to reiterate how important this is. This gasket, you know, has to line up like I showed before. Make sure all your holes line up, but all it takes, if it's upside down, it doesn't line up. So if you get the 4 bolt holes lined up, which will be close but not quite, your holes won't line up. And it's just literally just a flip of the gasket. There we go, just like that. It's actually the faceplate gasket, and it's gonna go right here. Right there, so we're gonna get that slid on. I also have some grease here, marine grease, so we're going to use that just to lube the shaft up a little bit, just to keep things sliding good. Also, I did an inspection of the impeller housing. Everything looks okay, good enough for now. I mean, there's nothing needs to be replaced or wiped it out. There's no grooves, scratches, or anything like that. It looks a little rough right here, but I'm not too concerned about that. Next time we change the impeller, I'll just change this housing out. Okay, make sure you have the gasket on the bottom. Faceplate's going down. And I'll use this awl to get this all lined up perfectly. And then we're going to put on our new gasket on top, which shows right here, the silicone gasket with the silicone side up. Okay, I used an awl. I got the gasket under the faceplate. We got this gasket going down with the silicone up. We're going to line it up. And then I'm going to get some lubricant right there. And I'm going to go ahead and lube the shaft up just a little bit and the splines. And I'm going to lube, I'll show you, I'm going to lube this area to hold the keyway still, so that when this new impeller goes on, I'll be able to slide her down and just, you know, ease right over it. There, I got a little grease on here. I'll take this off to show you. Just put a little grease on the flat spot that's made for the keyway. And it just fits perfectly right here. I slide it against the bottom shoulder. Right here. We are good to go. I'll realign my gaskets. I'm going to put some little dabs of lubricant off and on throughout the shaft and go to the next step. Okay, I went ahead and got the impeller in. So what you do is whenever your housing is over the shaft, it's all the way down, you think of your shaft turning clockwise, which would mean you turn the housing counterclockwise to get the impeller in so it goes back this way. So that's how you slide it back in. Some people use Dawn dishwashing soap to get in there, but this one went in pretty easy. It's just going to be a little tricky once you get in here to get it right over the keyway, but shouldn't be too bad. Let's give it a shot. Okay, got it on here. It was just a little tricky. You just have to make sure you get that keyway lined up just right. Slide everything down, do the counterclockwise turn, or turn it into the housing like you're turning the shaft clockwise. But we are all lined up and ready to roll. We're going to start batting it down. I've heard people talk about this. This one screw right here just gave me a little bit of trouble going in. You have to really kind of work your housing around to get all the screws lined up, because 3 of them fell easy. One of them just did not want to go. I had to play with it, make sure it didn't strip anything out. But for whatever reason, it was just a little difficult. But I've heard people talk about that. So just be careful there when you put this housing on, not to torque them down real hard. Just should go in nice and easy. Okay, we got this on. Again, just be careful because these are really, they're fine threads and it would be easy to cross it. I can see what everyone's talking about that. I have to really play with it and just be real easy with it. Just 1/4" drive bolts, so just be real careful. They're fine threaded. Then we have the new impeller shaft seal, and you just slide this over the end and get it going. And the kit has this plastic sleeve here that helps you get that down. Push it down, get it all the way on. There we go. We are ready for the next step. Okay, well, believe it or not, this thing just slid right up in place. So you got to remember that this one has to go on before you get too far because it didn't come off until after we took it loose. So we'll get all of them started and go to the next step. So far, so good. Okay, so we got all 4 bolts on. Everything's good to go. I got to put the bottom bolt in and then the top, tighten this top one down next. I double checked the neutral. It's in neutral now. I put it in forward gear. It held. Reverse, it held. So we should be good. So I'm going to go ahead and get these last 2 bolts on, and then we will get the prop installed. Okay, for this last bolt on the lower unit, it goes right up here in the bottom, as you can see. And it's a 9/16 socket. I'll put that in, tighten it down, then we'll get the plate back on. Okay, got that bolt on and tight. Again, it's pretty long-winded. It'll take a minute. And after I tightened it down good, snugged it, I double-checked our 4 mount bolts with a 3/4 inch open-end wrench. Everything was good there. So now we have the lower unit totally installed. And next, we're gonna put this plate on. And once you put the plate up, I left the bolt in the slot here. See if you can see it. And the bolt is in the slot, and it's a 1/2 inch bolt. So I will get this tightened down and we'll go to the prop. Okay, we're installed, we're tight, we're good to go. So this exhaust prop ring will cause some cavitation if it's worn out, and this happened to me one time. My wife and I were out fishing. It was really choppy one day, hitting some pretty heavy waves. We're actually on Lake Texoma, which can get pretty choppy, and it did cavitate once. So I bought 2 new rings just to go ahead and replace this while I had it off. So all you have to do is just pull this thing off and put a new one on. I'll clean it out and put the new one on and show you. Okay, I got this one off, cleaned it out. It's a little worn, it's a little thin. You can see it's been sliding. I see that the replacement is different. It's definitely got a tougher tab on it, but there's only 3 tabs. I already tested it. It works good. It fits in there well, so we're going to snap this in. And I got this from my dealer. There we go. We're snapped in. We're ready to roll. So now we have a new prop ring seal. All right, let's get the prop back on. Okay, I got the shaft lubed up really well. We greased it all up, cleaned it up. So let's go ahead and get that prop on. Okay, got that slid on. We got our lock washer and bolt, and we are good to go. Get that thing, get it tightened on, we'll test it. Give you a quick tip before I tighten it down. So on the front of your prop where it slips in that new ring, you just have to kind of wiggle it in. Just make sure it fits inside the plastic ring that we just put on, because that is important, so you don't smash it when you go to tighten it. If it's touching and you go to tighten it and smash it, then you got a problem. I've got an extra ring just for that very reason. So then I got the nut on and the lock washer in the nut. And make sure you get the tabs. There's our little keyways for the tabs. Make sure you get those on straight, and then I will tighten this down, and then we'll bend the tabs down. One of the things I do when I'm doing that, I put the board in right here so that when you're tightening it down, the prop hits, and that's how you keep it from spinning. So I have it neutral right now just to make sure everything's free. I'm not getting anything in a bind. And as you'll see with my nut, I got it really good and snug. I need to bend the tabs down, but you can over tighten these, so be careful. This is definitely at the perfect spot because my tabs are right in the middle of the flat of the nut. It's good and snug, and I'm going to get those bent. We're going to put the rabbit ears on it, see if how it runs. I've got the motor turned off now. I will tell you a little secret here. I used this flex hose at first. It's blue, and it did not supply enough pressure to give me a good stream. I thought, uh-oh, something's wrong. So I thought, well, maybe it was this flex hose. So I changed the hoses out, and now that everything's going great, I'll go ahead and go up and crank it up one more time. But everything's working good.